about the testing protocols for you guys? So since there is the university mandate with vaccinating was there, are you guys still doing routine testing once the season starts, like 3 times a week or whatever, or 1 time a week, or since guys are vaccinated, those guys not have to do it? I don't know how it works.
Yeah, right now we're not in testing protocol. We're testing like one-offs if we feel like there's symptoms or something that would present. But we're in a really good place in terms of the vaccination rate, and we'll stay the course with that until we need to adjust or adapt.
What is your team's vaccination?
The last I checked, we were north of 95%. But again, that's obviously with the variants and the new cases, we understand that doesn't fully protect us. It still takes discipline and accountability, but we're in a good place that way.
I noticed Derek Green the last 2 practices has been more like had full pads on and everything. What's his status since he's just kind of like he's come back from injury or something? And what can he give you guys inside his health?
I think there's a lot to be seen. I haven't had a chance to watch Derek play. I'm excited for him to be on the road to recovery. He's had a knee injury that he's been battling since we got here, a surgery that took place in the winter last year. So I'm excited to have him kind of tearing back and anxious to see what he can do to help us. Obviously, it's a big body and a guy that has a lot of potential, but it's a long way to go when you've been out so long. To get back to actually playing competitive football takes some time.
Kind of updates the Vandy United stuff today. Some of the facility plans, some we knew, some we didn't. How much of this did you know was coming when you took the job? I know that you probably saw blueprints, but I mean, how much of it settled that you do know about?
Well, I knew that the Vandy United project was on the books and on the brink of being announced, and there was some early conceptual stuff that I was aware of. But I think what we've done and what Candace has done and Chancellor Diermeyer is just continued through this journey to find that highest level potential of how this facility can really reshape football, on this campus. And obviously there are, other sports that will benefit as well. So I mean, it's been exciting for me, and I think with every update or upgrade, I get more excited about what the plan is, what the potential is here, and how it's really meant to position our football program in a place where we can launch, and be competitive in our league for a long time.
I think Chase Lloyd, it looked like he picked up his shoulder in the scrimmage. Do you expect him to be good to go once actual pro games start?
So it's a protective measure right now. We're just letting him strengthen. Obviously, the shoulder's been an issue in the past, and so we want to make sure he's got confidence in his strength before we just cut him loose out here again. But anticipate him being fine, anticipate him being ready.
Have you made a decision at quarterback?
Not yet. I feel like we're getting close. I think the scrimmage helped us kind of move along in that process. And I do want to focus on the chemistry of the group too. I think that's important heading into game one, but we're not ready to make that announcement yet. We still have some time left here where we're technically still in training camp. We've done a little opponent prep. We started that today, but just giving it a little more time.
Is there really any reason you want to announce it?
Strategically, there's no advantage. So yeah, internally to solidify the chemistry and so that we can have some confidence with, it's just nice to know where the role is. Publicly, there's no reason to really make an indication until we play.
There's a lot of situational stuff today. What's kind of takeaways from that, just offensively?
We had initially targeted live work today in those situations, which would have helped, I think, just in a 4-minute mode. There's gritty yards in there where you're not down at contact, you're churning your feet and finishing runs that maybe would have got us in some kneel it out situations sooner. I thought it was great work. I think it's great teaching work, and again, I'm in my role learning as the head coach, the clock management, all the things that go into that, the nuances of the decisions. It's great practice for me, but as a team, we want to create a competitive advantage in those situations too. So it's teaching the players how to address each one of those scenarios. And we had some interesting things come up just through the practice that I thought was really beneficial to everyone to experience that here in the workshop, so that when we get in those critical situations in game, we'll be prepared to execute.
Alex Williams, the guy who stood out to me off the edge a little bit. You've seen out of him this camp. What do you think he can give defensively?
I've seen growth. I mean, he's consistently come out here and performed. I think his length and athleticism make him a challenge for offenses, in general. I think his ability to function within the defense and know his role and assignment, he's proven through camp that he's ready for responsibility within our defense. And so I'm excited for him to play, and I know he's anxious to get out there and play too. I'm proud of him.
What do you like about Raymond Davis?
He's a tough runner. He's a leader. He's a guy that as our kind of top running back right now, knows it at a high level. So he doesn't, in all situations, as a pass protector, as a runner, he has a command over what we're trying to do and how we're trying to do it. That's going to go a long way just in allowing the offense to find rhythm. I think as a runner, he's tough. When he gets vertical, he has a second gear that he can hit, and we've seen that from spring into fall where he breaks a run and he's not caught. And so I think there's an element of explosiveness that will be helpful to us.
What kind of progression have you seen from the line? It feels like the first scrimmage was tough for the offense in general, and it seems to have improved some.
We've picked up. The rhythm's gotten a lot better. When you're dealing with offense, we had 15 practices in the spring. Really just finished our second spring ball, the next 15 practices. So it was good to see the rhythm kind of get going. It was snap counts, it was cadences, it was multiple guys playing together. Coach Lee, we had an awesome plan to kind of mix personnel so we could build some depth in black and gold teams, and really after about a week and a half settled into more ones, twos versus ones, twos. And I think that you see that come together, and it kind of showed how the offense was better. It's kind of the top 11.
Seems like Ben Cox has developed some. How have you seen him develop? Which areas? What's you guys right now at guard?
Yeah, Ben's done an awesome job. Ben's a guy that's high energy, ultra positive. He's the guy every day you're going to hear, positive stuff, positive bounce. He's coming out to practice with a lot of energy, and I think the guys feed off that. And so as a line, I've always been a believer. It's the guys that make the five best. They're the ones that are going to go click. They're going to operate. Sometimes when all the stuff's moving or it gets intense, you just got to know what that guy next to you is doing from a word or feeling him on the previous block. And you see those guys in there working together. He's kind of a glue guy for us from an energy and emotional standpoint.
What have you seen out of Michael Gordon in center?
Mike's a guy who is extremely smart. He's a student of the game. He's an older guy. O-line, and it's a developmental position. It's what we're going to build on here. We're going to recruit long athletes. But Mike is a guy who has continued to develop. He's got 4 years in college football. He understands situational football, the severity of each situation, what's going to happen. The game's slowed down enough for him that he can predict kind of what are we going to see from the defense, and he remembers what he's seen the days before. So you see that experience show up, and that's really the piece right now that is helping him the most, is he's playing like a veteran.
What do you think is the next step for Akibo?
Well, I think the biggest, Akibo's made huge strides this camp. The game continues to slow down for him. He's really a true freshman. Without a fall camp last year, being on the scout team, he's had 15 plays in our offense, 15 spring practices in our offense. And so for him, it's all starting to slow down. And it's not as much as a guy who's been around 3 or 4 years and, hey, cadences and finish and get back up and set the huddle, and all that stuff's being processed by him and the rest of that kind of young class.
Do you have your five at this point?
No, I think we got probably 8 guys that we're working through that top 5 right now. I feel good about them. Could put them in at any time, any place. I think, in a perfect world, you got a couple guys you can roll throughout the game to give a breather, give a spell. But yeah, we got a small group right now that have either proven and been guys that have played in games and been successful, that we can count on. And then there's some young guys with some energy and some athleticism that haven't played as much that provide a little bit of spark and oomph to the group. So that mix, I think, is really the last little piece we're putting together.
I know you're not coaching them per se, but what do you see from the defensive line in terms of the challenges they're providing your group relative to the spring?
Well, I think they're a much more intense group right now than they were in the spring. I love the way they're playing. That's Coach Noakes, Coach Hay. They feed off those guys coaching, and all three of us are guys that we believe in banging, and we're going to hit and we're going to interact a lot. We do a lot of individual together, drill work together, because I think the better look you see from both sides, the better we're going to get. And any good football team is going to be sound and physical at the line of scrimmage, and I think that's the best part. They like to tie it up and compete every day.
The offensive line has progressed over the last couple of weeks after the first scrimmage where the offense in general was kind of tough. It seems like
Yeah, it's been awesome. Like you said, obviously scrimmages are scrimmages, and we're building to the team we want to be. But I feel like we've been gelling together really well these last few weeks at camp, and obviously now we're getting closer to game day. So I just feel like we're starting to play close and play like a unit. So like Coach said, we don't have anything locked in yet, but we're starting to gel, whether that be who you're playing next to or the group in a whole. So I really like where we're headed.
Ben Cox was in your recruiting class.
Yep.
You're playing next to him as well. How have you seen him improve over the last year? Even during fall camp where it seems like he was.
Yeah, Ben's taken huge strides. He's obviously, like you said, me and him are buddies. We're in the same class, and playing next to him, he's come a long way. He's really been working on the mental side of his game. He's been, working in the playbook and on film, just trying to perfect his craft. So he's come a long way, and I'm excited to see what he does this year.
Ray, how you feeling this week?
Feeling pretty good, pretty well. I have full trust in our medical staff and athletic training to get me back safely as possible and healthy as possible, whether that's game one or any games after that. But right now, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm excited. Just get on the field. My first Vandy game, be able to play with these guys up front. Just go out there and get a W, hopefully.
Ray, you're the most experienced running back of this league. What have you seen from the younger running backs?
I've seen a lot. It's like tremendous strides from everybody. Rocco Griffin, Patrick Smith, Dylan, Jay, Luke. A lot of those guys, they've all stepped up. Every day. In the words of Coach Lee, we're not perfect, but we're evolving. We're getting better each and every day. We're taking strides. At the end of the day, we're a young group. We're going to learn off each other. We're going to feed off of each other. And that's the great thing about our room is everybody takes that role of being the leader. One day, Rocco will step up and go out there and make some strides and be able to give that advice to Patrick, to Dylan, and stuff like that. So it's been pretty well. I've been, amazed just to see those guys, and I've learned from them. I've learned, to control my emotions, control the mental aspect, the physical aspect. I've always asked them questions. They've always given me honest feedback. So, watch out for this room. They're going to do a lot of great things. We're all going to be able to contribute. So it's going to be pretty fun to watch throughout the season.
Yeah, like during film sessions or whatever, when you talk to Patrick specifically, it seems like he's got some ability, but it's a big step up to SEC, right? What do you help him with?
Funny thing is me and Patrick actually played each other in high school. So I've known Patrick since his freshman year in high school. So it's funny how God puts you with people, and we've ended up playing against each other in high school, and now we're in college together. But watching film, he asked me a lot of questions. He asked me, front, what do you watch? What do you see? Linebacker tendencies. So I really try to break down as best as possible for him to really figure out things to watch when you're watching the film. But I think the biggest thing that he's working on is just technique and all his details, honing in on them, footwork, staying square, stuff like that. And we'll watch the film again. Those guys come prepared, whether it's player-led, if I run it, or Coach McKenzie Rose, we all come in with our iPads, we're ready to learn. Guys are constantly writing down notes. Him especially, again, he's not afraid to ask questions. He's not afraid to admit when he's wrong. And, hey, I need a little bit of help on this, or if he's right, to not be afraid to tell me, hey, this is what I think, instead of kind of what you're suggesting. So it's been pretty good.
Was that when you played against him? Was that your senior year of high school?
Yeah, that was my post-grad year. So he went to Petty, and then I went to Blair. Okay. So those are big rival schools. So we played in our big rivalry game.
Did you see the O-line chemistry get developed, I guess? Do you have the confidence that they'll be able to open up doors?
Oh, I have 1,000% confidence. I mean, I know Bradley, Ben, Stu, Wardo, all those guys, Cole, like they're going to make those holes work, and it's our job to see them. You know, the train doesn't move without these guys. You know, that's what people have to understand. In order for us to execute our job, it all starts up front. You know, they get all the fame and glory. They should be getting all the fame and glory, obviously. But you know, only way for us to make our job happen is once they open up the holes, and we have to make them, you know, look great, and also make them, you know, correct. You know, when they open up the holes, you got to hit it. We can't tippy-toe. You got to make sure that what we see is what they're providing. And then at the end of the day, you know, the goal is to try to score, you know, to really make these guys pop out and really look good at their jobs.
When we talked to you before camp and so now, what have you learned about this team maybe you didn't know?
I'd say the biggest thing from before camp to after would be really this team is really showing its true grit. We haven't, you know, this camp is obviously different than what we've gone through before, and it's really pushed us through adversity and a lot of difficult situations, and we've been learning to thrive under those situations. So, you know, like I said about the O-line, I feel the whole team is gelling together, and this camp is really, you know, that's how fall camp should be. You're in or you're out, and people that are still here are in. So, you know, we're going full force at this.
What's made it so different?
What's made us so different? I think it's just the attitude. It's going into each practice and each day knowing that we're not just trying to survive, we're trying to thrive, and we're trying to win each day. And, you know, winning a day doesn't have to be winning every rep, winning every period, but it's how do you respond to each period and each rep, even if it's a loss. So it's winning the response to everything you do.
Coach Lea said he wants you guys to be the best condition team. You feel like you've gone through what it takes to start being that?
Yeah, obviously we've never arrived. You know, we're still in the process of making our team what we want our team to be. But it's just doing all the little things right. You know, it's obviously your conditioning and your running and all that, but it's what you're doing between periods, how you're moving from drill to drill, how you're moving between plays, the tempo you're pushing in practice. So I feel like we've been doing all the little things right to keep us on the track to where we want to go.